Adaptation in plants. Plants that grow in water. Aquatic plants. Plants that grow in water are called aquatic plants. They grow in ponds, rivers, lakes, and oceans. Aquatic plants are of three types: floating plants, fixed plants, and underwater plants. Floating plants. These plants float on the surface of the water. They are small, light, and spongy. Some plants have air spaces in their stems and leaves. The air spaces allow the stems and leaves to stay afloat. Water hyacinth and duckweed are examples of floating plants. Fixed plants. These plants have roots which are fixed to the bottom of the pond. They have long, hollow stems to reach the surface of the water. They have also broad and wax-coated leaves to prevent them from rotting. Lotus and water lily are examples of fixed plants. Underwater plants. These plants remain completely immersed in water. Their leaves are very small or ribbon-like to offer little resistance to water currents. Stomata are absent in leaves. They are fixed to the soil with the help of their roots. Exchange of gases dissolved in water takes place through the general surface. Hydrilla and tape grass are examples of underwater plants. Plants that grow on land. Terrestrial plants. Plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. Some grow on mountains and valleys where it is cold. Some grow in desert. Some grow along the sea coast and some in marshy places. Plants in desert. Deserts are hot and dry places with sandy soil. There is hardly any rainfall and little water is present under the ground. Plants which need very little water can grow here. These plants store water in their stems or leaves and use it very slowly. Some plants in deserts have small seasonal leaves that grow only after it rains. The lack of leaves helps them reduce water loss. Cactus, prickly pear, and date palms are some examples of desert plants. Plants on hills and mountains. The temperature in the hilly areas varies from cold to extremely cold. During winters, there is snowfall in some areas. Trees that grow in hills have adapted themselves to survive the cold conditions. Pinus, spruce, cedar, and fir are some trees that grow in hilly areas. These trees are also known as conifers. These trees are generally tall and straight. Many of them have needle-like leaves. Instead of flowers, they bear structures called cones. Seeds develop in these cones. The conical shape of pine and fir trees helps the snow to slip off their branches easily. Most conifers keep their leaves throughout the year and are thus called evergreen trees. Plants in marshy areas. In marshy areas, the soil is sticky and clay. The plants growing in such soil are called mangrove plants or trees. The clay here does not allow the roots to breathe, so some breathing roots come out of the soil. Such roots are called breathing roots or respiratory roots. Examples of such plants are Avicenna, black mangrove, and Rhizophora, red mangrove. Plants in plains. Plains have a moderate climate. It is neither too hot as in a desert nor too cold as in the hills. There is sufficient rainfall. Trees in plains have lot of branches and leaves. Their stems are solid with many branches. These trees can bear heat and give shade in summers. But in winter, they shed their leaves to protect themselves against the cold. Mango, banyan, peepal, shisham, and neem are such trees. Forests. Forests are thickly populated with different kinds of plants. Many varieties of trees, shrubs, and herbs are found there. There are evergreen, deciduous, and coniferous trees in forests. Grasslands. Grasslands are large areas of land covered with grasses and wildflowers. The roots of grasses and small plants make the soil rich. Grasslands do not receive much rainfall, so there are not many tall trees or bushes. All grasslands are home to a variety of wild animals. Coastal regions. Plants growing in warm coastal regions have to adapt to strong winds, sandy soils, bright sunlight, very high humidity, water vapor in the air, and heavy rainfall. Coconut, rubber, and pepper are some plants that grow in these regions. Insectivorous plants. Some plants grow in soil that is poor in minerals and they trap insects and consume them. Such plants are called insectivorous plants. Venus flytrap plant, sundew plant, and pitcher plant are some examples of insectivorous plants. The leaves of pitcher plant are in the form of a hollow pitcher filled with nectar. The pitcher has a lid. The nectar attracts insects. When the insect sits on the leaf, the lid snaps shut, trapping the insect. The digestive juices present in the fluid consume the insect. Non-green plants. Some plants are non-green as they have no chlorophyll. They cannot make their own food. They live on their nutrients from other plants. They are called parasitic plants. Mushrooms and toadstools are examples of some non-green plants.